Gotta love these names. One of the girls' names is Aquafina.
You never heard of her before?
No. This week on Surprise, We Both Love Movies, we're going to be reviewing Raya and the Last Dragon, which stars Kelly Marie Tran, Aquafina. You also have Daniel Day Kim, and the only other notable name would be Alan Tudyk, but he's the voice of a creature that really doesn't ever talk. So, Aquafina.
You never heard of Aquafina? I had a feeling I was driving. I was like, I bet Aaron's never heard of Aquafina.
All I knew is that this was a unique story, kind of like Moana, that hadn't been told before. It's not based on some fairy tale, at least as far as I know. I haven't done any research on the movie, but this seemed like a very unique story. And basically, there's this one village that has this ball that glows blue, and they're protecting it. And this ball protects these 5 lands that surround this one land. And everybody wants that crystal for themselves. And you find out the history at the beginning. The movie is based around Raya, and she tells the history of what happened. And there was basically this darkness that was going across the lands many, many years ago. And these dragons all got together and fought off this darkness. But many of them died while doing that and protecting the lands. And in the end, the few that were left created this ball, and the darkness was gone. And they all believe that this ball is the key to their protection, but all of the villagers want a piece of it. And this leads on a journey where it does end up getting broken into pieces, and every one of these lands ends up taking it, which unleashes the darkness again. And Raya has to go out and get all the pieces back to reunite it to get rid of the darkness again, which leads us on what I thought was a fantastic story. So a journey, which was very interesting. What were your thoughts on the movie?
A great story, I thought. It
Yes.
was very unique. There's never been another movie, I would say, that tries to really encompass this while still being entertaining. It was a kind of female-driven story, and it was kind of unique. I thought it was, you could even say it represents some of the struggles that go on throughout the world when it comes to things like power. So this crystal represents this power that this one faction, the country that they live in, is broken into 5 different tribes. And they all see that this one place is called Heart, where she lives, Raya lives, and her father. They try to basically, they have this power and everybody wants it. And so at one point, they get betrayed when the father tries to invite everyone in and have an opportunity to have, a piece of the pie. And then chaos ensues. She goes away. Next time you see her, she's grown up, and she's trying to bring back the dragons that have been extinct for many, many years and reunite, bring back her father and many of the people that the plague has frozen in time. And it's just a really good story, like the father-daughter element that hit home for me. The kind of struggles with people with power versus people that don't have power, and prosperity, and how that ties together, creates jealousy, creates fear, creates anger. There's all these different themes that are touched on by that. But there's a lot of tragedy that happens. There's a lot of anger and frustration. But Raya stays true to her journey, and wanting to make sure that she can provide, get back and help her father. And you see all these people along the way that have gone through this tragedy with this plague that has gone through these lands. And you really see, like I said, it just really is a microcosm of things, of people who have power and people who don't. So at one point in the story, there's people who don't have power, and then there's people who have power, and you see how their position changes on power. Once you have the power, you have a different point of view than when you didn't have power. And it's just something that's universal, that changes people. As power changes people, no matter how good you were before, or how oppressed you were before, or how bad things were before. Once you have power, then it changes, and you want to protect that power. And I thought that was a very interesting concept that was able to be touched on in a Disney movie very well without coming across overly political. What do you think?
I really enjoyed it for all the same reasons. It definitely hit home with the atmosphere today, and you would hope that people would pay attention. But I don't think the movie's gotten enough. I don't know. The marketing behind it, I don't think was really well done. Normally, for someone like me, I would have been all over the movie, but it kind of has been in the background, which is unfortunate because of what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird because, it's kind of funny because when the darkness comes back and takes over the land in that gap between when she was a kid and she's older. I was like, oh, it's Arizona. So like turned into a nice lush jungle into Arizona, basically. So she's got to fix that. So I was eager to see them get back to that lushness and go in and do what needs to be done. There is only one thing in this movie that I have to fault that I really bugged me in the first half of the film.
All right.
All the characters, they kind of go like this the whole time. Like something's got to happen. It's got to happen now. Like everything's going from this to that, to this, to that, to they all sounded like there was a sense of urgency. And the movie just kind of, to me, it really started to bug me. And it puts you like on edge. And a movie like this shouldn't put you on edge.
Wow.
There shouldn't have been that sense of urgency, but they made everybody talk like there was something big that was going to happen next. And you need to listen to what I'm going to say. And I was just like, holy crap, enough with that. Luckily, the second half of the movie gets away from that when she goes on her quest and the things start to happen. But the end of this movie is what makes it. It has some beautiful music, some beautiful visuals, the how they bring the people together and what ends up happening. It had some emotion to it that a lot of these Pixar films don't have. And I'll tell you, this was far better than Soul. It's far better than some of these other films that have come out recently. And I really enjoyed it. I'm actually going to get the rest of my family to watch it as well. So what was your score on this one?
For me, as a movie, it stayed true to being a movie. It was positive. You had a very straight, simple storyline. It was your classic kind of Disney movie. It nails all the things that it does. They'd spend a lot of time when they put these things out, and you could see it. Every scene was well created, good dialogue, good characters. There's even a crazy baby in this movie, and Aquafina, those of you familiar with their comedy, plays a dragon in this movie. And I think that's part of that, what you're talking about when you said it feels like everybody's in a hurry a little bit because of her speaking pattern. She kind of talks very rushed like that as who she is. But overall, as a movie, I was willing to give it an 8, almost a 9, but I'm going to go with 8 as a movie. It was very good. Your kids will like it. It keeps their interest and it's fun. As a film, I'm willing to go ahead and give it a 9. I think because of what it talked about in an entertaining way, but also made you think. I mean, it's got a lot of layers to it. You can go back and watch it several different times and pick up different things that I think you're going to miss on your first viewing, or you're going to maybe catch a hint of or smell of, and then you might go, oh, okay, well, there's so many stories intertwined, so many themes that are intertwined, and it's such a good movie for everyone. I would highly suggest it. It's definitely one of my top 10 movies I've seen this year, without a doubt. What about you, Aaron?
I give it the exact same score as you. As a movie, I gave it an 8. It's very solid at what it is. It's very entertaining. I think it'd keep anybody interested, all the way from little kids all the way up to adults. And with the message, and you see how the power volleys in the movie and what each of these characters goes through. There's no clear, it does blur those lines between protagonist and antagonist. I mean, the one antagonist we do know throughout the film is the darkness, the plague. But the protagonists, they kind of change hands several times as you see what's going on and the motivations behind each of the tribes and seeing how it all ends up at the end. So yeah, I'd give it a 9 as a film. So it does spark both ends of the ball here. So it was really good.
Yeah. So definitely one of our highest rated movies and films that we both agree on the year. So you guys definitely take time and check out Raya the Last Dragon. So for this week, I'm Lamont Lovejoy.
I'm Aaron Fisher.
Thank you guys for supporting us on all of our platforms: YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, iTunes Podcast Store, and we'll see you guys next week.